First part of the presentation will be the preparation for branding. What you need to do before you even start thinking about branding yourself. Or this metaphor, which is a nail being hammered into a piece of timber. So in this case, the nail is actually the brand, the hammer is the marketing, and the piece of timber are the consumers. And that's the way we think about branding. A brand is often a conception that's planted in our mind through the use of marketing. So for example, personal brands. If we think about Madonna, Madonna's not only one of the most successful female recording artists of our time. Madonna is actually a brand in herself. She's built a multi-million-dollar global empire around her brand, which is the Queen of Pop. Likewise, Will Smith and Oprah Winfrey, they've done the same thing. They've all built very successful personal brands. So in order to brand yourself personally, you need to think of yourself like a product. And in the case of one's job search, the employers as the consumer. They actually purchase you or buy you, make an investment in you. A common marketing term that's thrown around a lot is USP, or unique selling point or unique selling proposition. And what that refers to is the characteristic or those characteristics which actually distinguish you from everybody else, or your product, in this case being you. If you're passionate about something, you will do it really, really well. It's that simple. And if you do something really, really well, then you want to showcase that in your brand, because your brand is ultimately the image or the message that you're planting in other people's minds. So you need to be passionate about it. To get involved in a lot of the activities that you find at university, and even if you're graduating, then get involved in a lot of the community activities here in Singapore as well, because there's actually so many. So basically, the internet means that you can be a marketer of your own brand for free. And there are so many different applications out there which enable you to market yourself and your brand. Just raise your hand if you actually feel that employers that use the practice of screening candidates online through social media and Google is actually unethical. Just raise your hand if you feel that. Is give a window into your brand, essentially by hiding what's inappropriate and displaying what's not. You're actually creating more of a congenial brand for everyone. Okay, then we have Twitter. How many people use Twitter? Okay, not a lot of social media buffs in the room today. Twitter actually started out as a service that nobody understood. And the other thing to understand is that networking rarely leads to a job immediately. Don't feel that if you spend 2 months networking with CEOs, managing directors, that you're going to get a job. It rarely happens like that. Networking isn't, it's not a one-night stand, for lack of a better word. It's something that you need to constantly cultivate and build over a period of time. Your networking contacts, that might only lead to a job in 2 or 3 years. But the aim is to actually start now. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. The first one is how common are the Singapore recruiters to Google candidates and scan these candidates? And my second question is, if they do so, usually at which stage of the recruitment process they will carry out this process?
In my experience, I think it varies. Social media isn't as prevalent perhaps here in Asia as it is in other markets, so I don't imagine it's going to be high. But what I do know is that a lot of the trends that come out of the US and Europe are adopted later by Asia. After the first round, perhaps an initial culling, if they get 500 CVs and then they select about 50, that's typically when they would start looking through social media.